Welcome to Airplay Escape. Please consider subscribing to my Patreon account for the full audiobook. Thank you for your support. Naruto, Choose from Birth, Episode 51. Makoto Uchiha also quickly threw out the sealing scroll when he saw Orochimaru release his shuriken. The hands turned into afterimages, and waves of shurikens shot out, constantly colliding in the air. Unexpectedly, he was able to destroy 3 or 4 shuriken shadow doppelgangers on the opposite side with a single shuriken. Ding ding. The sound of golden iron is like firecrackers. This shuriken throwing technique is really amazing, and I have to say that the shuriken training method of the Uchiha clan is really second to none. Yes, with such an achievement at such an age, I am afraid that I am not an opponent when it comes to shuriken throwing. On the side of the training ground, Ape-Face Sun Chopping and Chimu Shuamel were commenting on the battle in the field. Humph. Seeing that the dark device did not work, the big snake pill snorted coldly. The right foot chops the ground, and the serpent steps. 2 huge pythons broke through the ground under their feet, raised the big snake pill and rushed towards the 3 shadow doppelgangers who attacked. Buzz boom. A low thunderclap appeared. Lay done, 1,000 birds sharp gun. The shadow doppelganger who walked in the front, the kuwu in his hand instantly inspired a strong thunder lightning, turning into a thunderbolt spear several meters long, swept towards the attacking giant snake. Suddenly, blood shot out, and 2 huge snake heads were washed into the sky. Boom. The big snake pill that jumped down from the python cut directly into the shadow doppelganger. Hidden shadow, snake hand. The small snake shadow that quickly rushed out of the sleeve bit the shadow doppelganger with one face. Fire, the art of the magnificent fireball. Feng done, big breakthrough. The other 2 shadow doppelgangers on both sides took advantage of the gap between the big snake pill attacking the first shadow avatar and directly released a set of combined ninja techniques. Tuduan, earth flow wall, rumble. The large fireball slammed into the rising earthen wall through the acceleration of the wind, and this earthen wall turned out to be extremely thick. Subsequently, under the wind and fire ninjutsu that the shadow avatar continued to consume chakra, the earthen wall gradually turned red, and then completely exploded with a roar. At this time, the big snake pill behind the earthen wall was still standing in place. A trace of a winding dirt road is revealed on the ground. The huge snake head that suddenly broke through the ground quickly bit off one shadow doppelganger, and before the other shadow avatar could react, the entire explosion exploded in an instant. Evil snake wrist burst. In addition to devouring enemies, the giant snake summoned by this ninjutsu can also use chakra to detonate, causing second stage damage. One skill solves 2 shadow doppelgangers. All the shadow doppelgangers on the field were swept away. A sound of 1,000 birds chirping in unison sounded in the flying smoke, accompanied by a flash of electric light. Uchiha Makoto raised his right hand that mastered the thunder and slammed into the chest of the big snake pill. The big snake pill's cold and frosty expression gradually collapsed and disintegrated, turning into a puddle of dirt. Tuduan, earth stand-in. At this time, the smoke and dust raised by the explosion just now gradually dispersed. But there was a sigh around Makoto Uchiha, and a large dense patch of poisonous snakes gradually surrounded him. These poisonous snakes are like colorful torrents, gradually covering the traces of the ground and emitting a numbing hissing sound. Psychic art, array of 10,000 serpents. The large snake pill that revealed his body was summoning these poisonous snakes endlessly on the edge of the training ground. Nima, it's so disgusting. If I become your disciple, and I also learn this trick to spit poisonous snakes, I estimate that I won't be able to eat for a month. Makoto Uchiha shouted, and then bursts of electric light covered his body, and more dense birdsong sounded. Chidori flow. The little viper that surrounded it was scorched black by electricity before it could get close, and died tragically on the spot. The larger vipers were nailed in place one by Chidori Senbon. My trick is called 1,000 birds peck 10,000 snakes. The big snake pill stumbled, almost choking on the poisonous snake that spewed out of his mouth. Bastard Uchiha, I'll see if you can call it later. At this time, Orochimaru also had to admit Uchiha Makoto's strength, and began to face this little Uchiha squarely, treating him as a real opponent. Strange, obviously these poisonous snakes can't work for the time being. Why hasn't the big snake pill stopped? Uchiha Makoto secretly thought, does he want to spend chakra with me? Bullying me young? Or does his psychic art itself not consume much chakra? Can't wait any longer. Makoto Uchiha quickly pulled out 2 wind demon shurikens from the sealing scroll and threw them at the big snake pill fiercely. At the same time, his hands were sealed, and when Orochimaru avoided the shuriken, a huge sea of fire almost burned all over the scene spewed out in his throat. Fire, fire dragon bomb. Looking at the sea of fire that swept towards him, Orochimaru slid his hands lightning fast, and then slammed into the ground. Psychic art, Rashomon, rumble. The fierce flames slammed into the Azure gate that had been summoned from hell. There was a roar, but Rashomon remained firmly in place. It seems that your attack strength is not enough. Orochimaru smiled. Really? Makoto Uchiha's voice actually came from behind him. The vertical pupils in the eyes of the big snake pill shrank slightly, and he could only half turn around. A huge ball of energy came into view. Rumble. Most of his body was slammed into the ground, and the surrounding earth instantly shattered and collapsed. Daidama, spiral pill writing face. How to lose. Episode 52. The huge Rashomon that was channeled out of the psychic is still standing on the ground, but the protected person behind him has been driven into the ground and does not know whether he is alive or dead. It's kind of hilarious. Fortunately, after a while, a cloud of smoke rose from Rashomon and disappeared. The huge evil ghostly face on the door wall seemed to be slightly red. Well, it was burned by the flames. This kid, his little head is very active, and he actually relies on the transformation technique to turn into a wind demon shuriken. Unexpectedly, he gave the big snake pill a blow. Alas, now it seems that there is really no need for the great snake pill to teach him. As soon as he spoke, the big snake pill suddenly came from the field, and the shadow avatar of Makoto Uchiha, who had just finished releasing the fire dragon bomb, broke through the ground beside him, and a latent shadow multi-snake hand was extinguished, and there was no shadow avatar of chakra. At this time, the body of the big snake pill was covered with faint mucus, like a big snake that had just molted. Great snake flow avatar. With the external body as a stand-in, it does not need to be sealed, and it is the most perfect stand-in technique, and even Amaterasu can avoid it. And the body of the big snake pill in front of Makoto Uchiha gradually dried up. It is undeniable that you are really underestimated earlier, and this time you really need to show your real skills. There was a hint of anger in his hoarse voice. Then I have to be more serious. Uchiha Makoto responded without timidity, and a violent thunder light suddenly rose from his right hand, bringing a terrifying thunderous sound in his hand, which gradually took shape in his hand. Ratchet. More than 10 meters away, a violent threat can be felt. Dangerous. Orochimaru felt the sweat hairs on his body stand up vigilantly. At the moment, he no longer hesitated, opened his mouth and bit his finger fiercely, and just wanted to press his hand to the ground for a larger psychic technique. Result. Okay, it's okay to assess this, there's no need for a life and death fight. The voice of the 3 generations of Hokage came clearly through the field. The big snake pill stumbled and almost fell to the ground. Why didn't you say it earlier? Looking at the thumb that had just been bitten by himself, Orochimaru turned his head to stare at the 3 generations outside the field with resentment, and his cold eyes flashed with memories of being harshly educated under the 3 generations of shinobi in his childhood. He must have done it on purpose. Makoto Uchiha put away Ratchet and forged a seal of reconciliation with Orochimaru. Then came to the 3 generations. Your strength is indeed good, you have already embarked on your own path, and you really don't need to worship a teacher. In this way, today directly cross the middle ninja, break the rules and promote you to the upper ninja, and you can lead the team yourself in the future. Upper shinobi is the elite of a village, and will have rights different from middle shinobi and lower shinobi. It also represents extraordinary glory and is the embodiment of strength. Walking on the street, others will cast their eyes in awe and envy. Of course, with as many rights as there are responsibilities and obligations. With such talent, can you also bring a few ninja school students to help them grow quickly? Now that the ninja world is in turmoil, the manpower is gradually a little insufficient, and talents are needed everywhere. Is it just that this imp will guide others? Maybe immediately send you out to carry out the mission of visiting the intelligence of the enemy country. Don't waste such combat power. 3 generations of eyes like knives. No, 3 generations of adults. In fact, I had already used my full strength just now, and Lord Orochimaru was obviously quite at ease, and when fighting, I used my mouth to distract Orochimaru-sama a little. Please don't mind Lord Orochimaru, after all, I have to bring out 120% of my strength to make 2 moves with you. Actually, I don't want to be a disciple of the Great Snake Pill. It's because I admire Lord White Fang's sword skills for a long time. I hope Lord White Fang can guide me in my sword skills, Uchiha Makoto said with a sincere face, his eyes fixed on the Konoha White Fang on the side of the 3 generations. Mouth escape? Is there such ninjutsu? Is this an attempt to worship the White Fangs? The 3 generations and the White Fang looked at each other. White Fang secretly is not only the leader of the Dark Army, who is in charge of the affairs of the Dark Department, and on the bright side, Konoha's powerful ninja leading the team. In the future, on the battlefield, as the commander-in-chief, he will face the first front. This would be much more dangerous than the situation faced by the Great Snake Pill, and if he really became Makoto Uchiha's master, his Chimu clan sword technique would not be easily taught, and at most he would point out his understanding and experience of sword art. So, in an instant, 3 generations flashed in their hearts, thousands of thoughts. Then in the eyes of White Fang, he nodded gently. So, Shuamel, what is your opinion? The 3 generations of Hokage asked politely. Yes, I will definitely not bury his talent so that he can quickly grow into a Konoha ninja who can stand alone. Kiki Shuamel accentuated his tone on the word Konoha, and his eyes stared at Makoto Uchiha with complicated eyes. If that's the case, then you can also pick 2 more graduates in this class to form a class. Just give you a holiday on the eve of the storm. 3 generations and 1 hammer. Compared to the high-intensity tasks that White Fang has been performing, this work of nurturing new students can indeed be called a holiday. Then, I've seen the teacher. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Sword Mastery Plus Mysteries, Mirage Moonwheel. Uchiha smiled in his eyes. It doesn't matter if the current White Fang can truly guide his practice of swordsmanship. There is no distinction between the swords of the Hokage world, and they can be collectively called knives, or swords. I just need a name. When he became a white fan disciple, the sword art that had not been revealed in front of people shone brightly in the eyes of everyone. What will the 3 generations think? What's more, if you feel a deeper kendo comprehension on white fang, can you make the sword art go one step further? Although Mirage Moonwheel. At present, it seems to be powerful, and it can flatten a small hillside while blocking many attacks. But compared to those perverted Heavenly Barrier Shock Star, Super Shenluo Heavenly Sign, Earth Explosion Heavenly Star and other skills, it is still not enough to see. It will be interesting to see how strong the Konoha White Fang, which Uchiha Dapu said can overshadow his strongest mysteries, is. So the 3 generations of Hokage and Makoto Uchiha, 2 big and small foxes, were satisfied and left with a smile on their faces. Just wait for the next day's placement. Oh, the only one left with a gloomy face. Big Snake Pill. I refused Tuanzang's request for cooperation some time ago, and this time I have to take the initiative to seek cooperation. I need to improve faster. Not enough ninjutsu? Then forbidden to come. The Big Snake Pill, who has always been proud of his talent, thought of that little Ujibwa, and a cold light flashed in his 2 amazing vertical pupils. Episode 53. Early the next morning, the graduating class of the ninja school arrived at the classroom early. They eagerly discussed who would be able to follow the class and which teacher would lead the team. Hey, I heard that the 3 disciples of Lord Hokage will also become the leading teachers this time. They are powerful elite shinobi. Really fake? If it's true, I hope to become a disciple of the great Snake Pill master who smashed the tank. It has been extraordinary since childhood, and it will definitely be the protagonist of the times in the future. Yes, I thought so too. Jiraiya, adults have been stupid since childhood, and they fell into the big water tank, which is the life of the supporting role. If he is taught, it is estimated that he will be a supporting role at most, right? Shoo, what kind of logic are you? However, it is said that after a group of small tadpoles find Jiraiya-sama, he can channel the Big Toad. Big Toad? Just ask if you are afraid, Big Toad? How big is it? It's not a big deal, it's the kind of, hey, you're pulling away, aren't you? Where did this come from? Are you falling behind? Haven't you seen the collection of fairy tales of the Malyang immortals that is now popular in Konoha? Don't you have neighbors, no younger siblings? You're an orphan. Near 8 o'clock, Mr. Nomura entered the classroom on time with the placement schedule. The noisy classroom suddenly fell silent, holding their breath one by one, silently praying to form a class with a familiar classmate, and hoping to have a good teacher. Nomura stood on the podium and said with a smile on his face, all that should be said, it was already said yesterday, and here the teacher once again wishes you a successful graduation and an admirable ninja. Of course, the path of ninja is still very long, and today we will assign some more powerful and experienced ninjas to personally lead you through this initial path. Start splitting now. The first class, Narashika Hiza, Akimichi Choza, Yamanaka Haichi. Second shift, Uzumaki Shina, Mina Shimura, Nanako Kishimoto. The third shift, Buafingshui Men. Then one by one, the teachers also walked in and took away their students. Tsunade didn't come over, just asked people to bring words, and let the 2 trainees of the second class. At 10 a.m., go to Konoha's third driving range, where she and Kuzuna will wait for them. When Orochimaru came in and took away the team where the Senja rope tree was, it immediately caused a noise of envy. Some children still want to coax. Ask the Big Snake Pill Jun how he felt about smashing the cylinder when he was a child. No way, although it feels like a fairy tale, it must be made up, but the real name and image depiction on it have to make people think of it. As a result, the Big Snake Pill was too noisy, and a cold and harsh look swept over, and suddenly the classroom cooled down by 10 degrees, and the audience immediately fell silent. I was stunned and quiet for several times. When Zilai also came in and took away the team where Buafingshui Men was located, he returned to the children's nature and forgot things quickly. In turn, there were enthusiastic cheers to Jiraiya, and of course, a burst of boos to the third shift. After leaving the school, Watergate couldn't help but blush and asked, Teacher Zilai, did you fall into the big water tank when you were a child? Hardy G lay, still immersed in the warm welcome of the trainees just now, thinking that his image has finally penetrated into the hearts of the people. Didn't he see the enthusiasm they had just now? And he actually knew that he could summon a big toad, and sure enough, his strength had spread to the entire ninja world. Me? Fell into a large water tank. Zilai also listened to Watergate's question and was stunned. A fairy tale book says that, teacher, you fell into a large water tank when you were a child, and you were rescued by Lord Orochimaru. What are you kidding? Who wrote it? I'm going to go to him, get him to change it, and throw the Big Snake Pill into the jar, or I'll write him into the intimate heaven. Jiraiya shouted loudly. Buafingshui Men shook his head helplessly. Sure enough, the teacher's brain circuit was still so peculiar. Makoto, who is our class teacher? There was also a teammate who was not there, mysterious, everyone else was gone, and the 2 of us were left to wait here. A girl with crisp short hair and a handsome spirit muttered dissatisfiedly. The green onion-like left hand is supporting the white and tender face, tilting the little head, and the index finger of the right hand is stuck with a bitter sleeve, spinning in a circle frantically. obviously a master who can't sit idle. It should be coming soon. Nomura-sensei said that our class teacher is very strong, and our teammates are also very strong. Uchiha Makoto brushed the bangs in front of her forehead and replied calmly. Sitting straight on the seat, two small white jade-like hands, quietly folded on the thighs. Makoto, aren't you anxious? You're about to start your ninja career, so don't you look forward to your companions and teachers who will always be with you in the future. When Makoto heard this, the picture of Makoto Uchiha instantly flashed in her mind, and then shook her head, feeling impossible. He graduated 2 years early. It's nothing, it's useless to be anxious, you'll know who they are later. Wait quietly, continue to think cranky, and it will not change the established facts. I'm going crazy, Makoto, I'll never be able to reach your state. I feel. Well, you're about to become an immortal. Is this the ladylike cultivation of the big family? At this moment, the classroom door was suddenly opened, and a familiar voice came in. Sorry, we're late. Episode 54. As Makoto Uchiha pushed the door and walked into the classroom, then Konoha Hakuyakiki Shua Shigeru also walked in. Brother Chung. This is Mu. Konoha White Fang? The short-haired girl who was playing with bitterness widened her eyes when she saw the comer. Her face was full of disbelief, and she couldn't help but stand up. I didn't expect that my teammate turned out to be Makoto Uchiha, who graduated early. And his own leading teacher turned out to be Konoha White Fang. The silver hair and the small ninja knife on his back were too easy to identify. Suddenly, everything unhappy was thrown to the back of the mind. Brother Chung, Lord White Fang. Uchiha Makoto was also surprised at this time because she did not receive the news, but she quickly adjusted and immediately got up and saluted. Makoto Uchiha and Anna Tachibana. Okay, everyone. Everyone moved to the training ground of Konoha 17. Shuamel looked at Makoto and Anna slightly, and after making sure it was him, he dropped a sentence, turned around and left. Brother Chung. We already knew it was you, and we would like to wait a long time. On the way to the training ground, Tachibana Anna said to Makoto Uchiha with excitement on his face. Oh? Looks like we're early. Why don't you go back and wait? Don't. Kidding, joking, hey. Konoha number 17 training ground. As one of Konoha's traditions, Shua Shigeru asked Makoto Uchiha to introduce himself. My name is Anna Tachibana. From a small family that has declined. I like to eat bitter melon and other bitter foods, because the taste of bitterness is the most wonderful thing in this world. My dream is to become a great ninja and revive the former glory of the family. Although I am a girl, I firmly believe that I am no worse than boys. Even keto boys are not as hardworking as me. And I hope that the teacher will not have to worry about it in daily training. Even at the highest intensity, I can persevere. Looking at the resolute eyes of this short-haired girl, everyone was slightly stunned. Jimu Shuamao, a bit unexpected. Although I already knew all the information about this person, the focus was still on the other two Uchiha, but I didn't expect that this female trainee was not bad, at least in terms of attitude. She had the foundation to become a strong person. Although she is a down-and-out family, she has her own set of practice methods since she was a child, and she practices harder than many people, and the information shows that she has also mastered the chakra control of climbing trees and treading water. Also, if you arrange a foundation that is too poor, then the gap between the team members is too large, and many cultivation progress cannot be coordinated together. This is at odds with Hokage's policy of requiring the team to complete more difficult tasks on their own right away. My name is Makoto Uchiha, my hobby is cooking, and I specialize in 3-flavored onigiri, steamed cod, and honey barbecue. I like a lot of things. My dream is to taste the world's cuisine, make more delicious dishes, and have enough strength to accompany someone so that he can always eat the best food. It's such a taste of hobbies and ideals, and I almost drooled when I said it. Is this child a little inclined to fall in love early? Correction must be given. Chimu Shuamao thought silently and nodded as always. My name is Makoto Uchiha, and my hobby is eating. I like Makoto's cuisine, Kushina's vortex massage, Tsunade-sama. Ahem, well, that's a joke. My favorite is Makoto's cuisine, and after eating it, I taste someone else's, and I feel like one word, hard to swallow. Because it's too full to eat. My current dream is to become the strongest in the ninja world. Poof. Makoto couldn't help but cover her mouth and chuckled. Report teacher. Tachibana Anna, after Uchiha Makoto finished speaking, deliberately raised his hand timidly. I suspect that I am a superfluous person in this team. Did you just know? X3. Kiki Shuamao took a deep look at Uchiha Makoto, took out 2 silver bells from his pocket and threw them to him. If you want to be the strongest in the ninja world, then you stand still, let one hand fight them, and if the bell is lost or moved, then you will lose. I didn't have anything to eat at noon today. You two will snatch the bell from Makoto Uchiha, and if you can grab it, or let him move his footsteps, even if you win. In the same way, if you lose, you will not eat. Then let the teacher have a good understanding of your strength. Start now. Wait. Anai quickly raised her right hand. Teacher. You underestimate us too much. There is no need for Brother Chim to stand still, just beg. Just ask him to let us have our hands. Hehe, I remember that he would seal it with one hand, and if we had a powerful ninjutsu, wouldn't we all stop? I was wrong earlier, it was the teacher who looked up to us. Are you sure? If Makoto Uchiha has no opinion, it can be like this. Chimushuama replied with a smile. I'm sure. Right? Mikoto-san. Uchiha Makoto rolled his eyes. If that's the case, then do as you say. 30 minutes later, Anatachibana, who ran quickly 20 laps around the entire number 17 training ground on his long legs, looked at Makoto Uchiha, who was still running vigorously in front of him, finally couldn't hold on. Poof. A fall to the ground. Wearing shorts, bandages on her thighs, and a ninja bag, Anna rubbed her slightly reddened knees with her hands, and tears shone faintly in her eyes. No more. What a bully. Unexpectedly, Makoto Uchiha, who let his hands rely only on his legs, ran extremely fast and lasting. During the ninjutsu released during the period, all the ninjutsu were dodged. When Anai was so angry that he wanted to hammer him up close, he ran a marathon around the entire training ground. The most hateful thing is that she slows down from time to time, and when she catches up, she suddenly accelerates. Whenever he thought he could grab the bell, he drifted away. As a result, he was unknowingly led to run 20 laps. For a while, he was angry, and his small chest rose and fell rapidly. I also want to be a powerful ninja and revitalize the family, but it seems that I can't even pass the first lesson of ninjas. I can't help but feel sad from my heart. My hands wiped my eyes. Wow. The ground cried out. Episode 55. Okay, don't pretend. The eye drops you secretly took out of the ninja bag just now are exposed. You can't do this trick. If you let a long-haired, pitiful weak woman play it, maybe there is a possibility of success, well, such as Shao Makoto. Makoto Uchiha dodged the sneak attack behind Makoto, one pretending to cry and play the emotional card, and one person sneaking attack. Want to rely on the sympathy of others? You still haven't been beaten by the ninja society, it's a little naive, huh? Was this discovered? Hateful, sure enough, Uchiha's eyes are sharp. Is it that your manners are too fake, okay? Okay, this time I'll stand still, let you have one hand, you let go and grab it. I'll put the water. Humph, I will definitely be able to grab it this time. Makoto, you put ninjutsu in the distance, and I will twit him with a melee hammer. See which one he fights first in ninjutsu. Anna held Kumu with his backhand, leaned forward, and quickly rushed towards Uchiha Makoto like a swooping cheetah. So vicious, I can't move now and let you have one hand. Decided, no more water. The eyes of the riding wheel are open. The second door of the 8 doors of Dunjia. The door is open. Anna only felt a sudden gust of wind rising in front of him, and involuntarily closed his eyes, but the kunai in his hand went unabated towards Uchiha Makoto. Unexpectedly, Kuwu was directly shot away, and his right wrist was captured. Opportunity. If you want to defeat Makoto Uchiha, you can only win in danger. Open. Anai took advantage of the right foot to step on, and the force that instantly erupted and shoveled a burst of sand and dust on the ground. Spin around, draw your wrists. The arm was able to shrink in a circle and slipped out of Makoto Uchiha's hand, a unique secret technique belonging to her small family. Whiplash legs. The big white long legs came towards Uchiha Makoto with a strong wind like a long whip. Syllable. Good strength. Although he was still easily framed, Anai did not come down, and his other leg was quickly wrapped up. With Makoto Uchiha as the fulcrum, feet facing up and body facing down, his hands quickly reached for the bell around his waist. You little Nizi is so wild. Not playing with you anymore. Makoto Uchiha's right arm shook fiercely, lifted, and slapped. Syllable. Anai suffered a blow on the butt, and the whole person flew into the air. Makoto quick. Fire. The art of the magnificent fireball. Makoto, who had been preparing for a long time, directly pushed a large fireball over. Mina, who was slapped in the air and her face was red, did not want to give up this opportunity, turned around, and pulled out 2 more kunai, wanting to fall and fight Makoto up and down. Result. Water escape, water array wall. The new ninjutsu of the retreat for 1 year was sealed with one hand and released at a rapid speed. The huge wall of water circled Makoto Uchiha and fiercely blocked the large fireball. In the air, the kunai in Anachibana's hand submerged into the wall of water for half an inch, and couldn't enter further, but instead stirred up bursts of splashes, slipped on the semi-elliptical wall of water, and rolled down the wall. When he almost landed on the ground, a pair of strong arms crossed the wall of water that was disappearing, picked up Anna, and hit him the shoulder by the way. At this time Anai, who was like a chicken in soup, closed his eyes tightly, his face was red, and his nose twitched. Really sobbed silently. It's so humiliating. Makoto Uchiha felt the strangeness on his body and quickly put her down gently. Wouldn't you? Really crying this time? Brother Chung, you bully people again, she is a girl. Makoto came over and said in disgust. You blame me for this, how wild she played just now, plus she had short hair, I treated him like a boy. Also, to teach you another lesson, in the world of ninjas, the strong are honored, regardless of gender. Humph. I didn't cry, I was just blinded by the splash. And Anai opened his clenched right fist. Bell, I got it. Well, I can't prevent it, I was really deceived by your tears this time. Sure enough, no matter what world a girl's tears are in, they are still a sharp weapon. Uchiha shook his hand helplessly. Although your wet figure is a little embarrassed, You who successfully got the bell are indeed a little handsome. Humph. Anai shook his head, snorted coldly, quickly steamed his body with chakra, and then took 2 bells to the teacher to receive credit. Brother Chung, thank you. Uchiha Makoto pulled the corner of Makoto's clothes, the bell, and others knew that he had deliberately given it to her. It's okay, it's better for one person to have no food than for 2 people without food, right? Makoto Uchiha smiled and rubbed Makoto's little head. After that, I only received 2 bento boxes for lunch. Makoto won, Anna won. Makoto Uchiha lost, no food. Chimu Shuamao, on the other hand, said to pick up the task and leave on time at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Wow, today's meal is extra fragrant. Anna Tachibana opened the lunchbox and deliberately sat in front of Makoto Uchiha to eat. Look at your smugness, this is far worse than Makoto. Humph, it's better than you didn't have to eat. Brother Ching, eat me, I can't eat so much. Makoto divided most of the meal and handed it to Makoto. It's still my sister who is cute and humane. Humph, make me eat like I can? I can't eat this meat, I have to stay in shape. And I also divided half of the meal out. Also, thank you earlier. I will try not to hold everyone back. She is not a fool. Makoto Uchiha did not release water, can't she see it? From a distance, he silently looked at the silver-haired man who had gotten along on the first day of the squad, smiled slightly, and a cloud of smoke rose and disappeared in place in an instant. Episode 56. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Chimu Shuamao returned to the number 17 training ground on time, holding a mission scroll in his hand. Given that your strength has actually surpassed many of your peers, and some basic cultivation has already been completed by you, so, we go straight to the task, skim over the D-level task, C-level task, and go directly to the B-level task. That is to say, this mission must meet with blood, must kill or be killed. You guys have 5 minutes to think about it. Turn around and go back, away from the world of ninjas, and be an ordinary person who loves and teaches children from now on. Or go and complete the task, face the cruelty of this world, and be a strong person who can protect one's side. Chimu Shuamao said very calmly, giving people the feeling of not caring about what to eat tonight. Brother Makoto. Uchiha Makoto habitually went to look at Uchiha Makoto, her small hand tugging at the corner of his clothes, trying to get an answer from him. Makoto Uchiha smiled slightly, looking at Makoto quietly, with no intention of speaking. I can help you with other questions. Only this one can't help. The Uchiha clan, as a high-profile clan with a powerful bloodstain limit. From the moment of birth, it is destined to be unable to easily leave this cruel world, unless I have the day of King's Landing. At that time, even if you want to be an ordinary person, I will definitely be able to keep you safe for the rest of your life. If you want to be a true ninja, then I, Makoto Uchiha, will never let you leave before me as long as I don't die on the road to growth. Teacher, I won't back down, I see life and death a lot. If I don't even have this awareness, I won't boast about Haikao. I want to become a great ninja. I want to revitalize the family. Mina Tachibana was the first to shout. Me too. Mikoto clenched her small fists. If you choose to be ordinary people, we, as Konoha ninjas, will definitely protect you from natural and man-made disasters. In the same way, when we choose to become a Konoha ninja, remember that there are thousands of villagers behind you who need your protection. So, now the mission goal is to eliminate the cottage controlled by a ninja. The bandits inside were taken in by a wandering ninja a week ago and began to become more bloodthirsty and brutal, and the looting passers-by basically left no one alive. Let's talk about the specifics on the road. The mission is located on Black Tiger Mountain, far from Konoha, where it is said that a black tiger appeared a long time ago. The 4 of them quickly ran out of the training ground and rushed outside the village. When passing through the gate of Konoha, Chimu Shuamao did not turn his head, and a kunai flew out with a shake of his hand. Sincere. A village exit order was slammed into the doorframe on the side of the gate. The long devastated wooden door frame finally couldn't hold on, and the whole fell off. A slightly older Konoha Naka shinobu walked out of the guard's room next to him and looked at the 4 people who had gone away, full of grumbling. Who brought down this bad habit? Don't you know how to take care of public property? After checking the order to leave the village, he picked up the kunai tied to the doorframe, and suddenly his eyes lit up. Earned and earned, it is a delicate bitter nothing. The land of fire is border, Black Tiger Mountain, and it is another evening at this time, but it no longer has a bright sunset. The entire sky was like black clouds, and the clouds were surging. A cold wind whistled by, rolling up the fallen leaves in the sky like moths, adding a bit of desolation. Chimu Shuamao led the 3 people, climbed the steep mountain wall, and quietly sneaked into the cottage. This Black Tiger village has a total of more than 200 bandits and a ninja, each of whom is a habitual bandit who is a monstrous crime, and the mission requires that they all be cleaned up. If you can't do it, stay in this cottage forever, I won't shoot. Now, strike. The voice without the slightest emotional fluctuation came out of Shuamao's mouth, and at this time, his whole person had no vitality, and he was completely integrated into the surrounding environment like a decaying wood. Makoto Uchiha didn't say anything. Like a silent night owl, a few flashes swept towards a thief standing guard with a spear. The thief, who was blowing the cold wind and numbly looking at the scenery outside the cottage, suddenly felt a sore throat, reached out and touched it, and his hands were full of scarlet blood. The enemy. Gollum. His face was full of shock, and as soon as he wanted to say the enemy attack, the blood in his mouth had already spewed out, and the power was withdrawn from his entire body. Hesitate and lose. Makoto Uchiha did not hesitate in the slightest, and continued to rush to the next target, without saying a word. He has long been familiar with the rules of the ninja world, and he realized the cruelty of the Hokage world in his previous life. If you hesitate in battle and doubt your life, you would have lost your bones 2 years ago. Mikoto and Anna stared blankly at Makoto Uchiha, who was harvesting blood like the Grim Reaper. The body trembled slightly, and the little hands loosened and tightened, as if they were making the biggest decision in life. Maybe you can think that killing them is just to save more people. Sometimes in times of crisis, you have to make difficult choices, such as giving up the lives of the other 99 for the survival of the remaining 101 people. Of course, in fact, these are all excuses to comfort yourself. The path of ninja is not as simple as you think from the beginning. Kiki Shuomo lightly reminded that this is a process that all ninjas must go through. You won't turn yourself into a cold-blooded and emotionless machine, but at least you must have the ability to ignore life, both the enemy's and their own. Isn't there a more peaceful way? Mikoto's brows furrowed slightly. Maybe there is, but at least not yet. Anai clenched the kunai in her hands and took the lead in attacking, although she had sworn before coming. But when the hot blood on the opposite side spilled on his body, goosebumps rose all over his body, and he still had a strong sense of discomfort. Mikoto stared closely at Makoto Uchiha's sleeping figure, remembering her dream of facing the storm with him, and finally gritted her teeth and joined the assassination sequence. In a house, a thief with a face full of centipede scars was specially picked and used the speed of sneak attack and full attack. Poof! Kuwu slammed into the man's heart from his back, and the hot blood sprayed out made Makoto close her eyes tightly and tremble uncontrollably. Ah! A piercing scream came from behind Makoto. A woman dragging a washbasin stared at Makoto in panic, and the washbasin slipped from her hand, splashing with water. Makoto slowly turned to look at the woman. Don't kill me, I was caught in this cottage. The woman backed away in panic. I'm sorry to scare you, you hurry up and leave this cottage. After Makoto finished speaking, she turned and walked towards the door of the house, and there were already gongs and drums beating outside, and the bandits were all in a commotion. Just as Makoto turned around, the woman suddenly turned hideous. Drawing a sharp dagger from his boot, he swooped towards Makoto. A shuriken flew in from outside the door and pierced the woman's forehead accurately. Uchiha Makoto heard the sound and rushed to solve Makoto's crisis. Makoto turned her head and looked in disbelief at the woman holding the dagger and falling to the ground with a hideous face. Don't trust anyone, especially women and children, on the battlefield. Makoto gently helped Makoto dry the blood from her face. Then he turned around and jumped into the bandits who had already gathered and flocked to them. Even a few little fart children dare to attack our cottage? Brothers, go up and unload them in pieces. Hee, the man kills, the woman I want to make her live better than die. A thief with a machete shouted angrily. When Uchiha heard this, he put down the kunai that was ready to project, and the ninjutsu that was ready to be released, and drew the famous knife, Broken Snow, that was like iron. 3-hook jade riding wheel, eyes open. Just like the legendary Black Tiger of Black Tiger Mountain, it directly and rudely penetrated the crowd face to face. Each blow throws several big heads, setting off waves of blood wherever it goes. Along the surrounding houses, up the first step of the council hall, blood flowed in a moment. The leader who was ready to exhaust the opponent's physical strength, the only ninja. As soon as he walked out of the council hall to get out of the water, he was slammed into the beam of the hall by the broken snow flying with electric light. Heavy rain poured down. Makoto and Anna stared stunned at the boy standing at the highest place in the sea of blood in the mountain of corpses. The black clouds pressed down, and bursts of fierce electric light shone on its head. My eyes were gradually infected by the rain. This battle. Uchiha Makoto kills, 205. Anachibana kills, 3. Mikoto Uchiha, 1. Do you want to carry the whole hell alone? The rain mixed with tears, and the double-hooked jade blood chakra eyes slowly rotated in Uchiha Makoto's eyes. End of Squad Growth. Episode 57. Hakuju crossed the gap, a year and a half later. The camp of the Konoha mission in the Land of Rain. Although it was late at night, the whole camp was brightly lit and the atmosphere was high. They are excited about the news that an agreement is about to be reached to form a strategic alliance with the Land of Rain. Tomorrow is the time to actually sign the agreement. You know, this negotiation has been going on for a long time. The Land of Rain is the junction of the 3 kingdoms of fire, earth, and wind. Moreover, it is rich in resources and abundant water sources, and it has always been a battleground for soldiers. And the Rain Country Yuin village, under the leadership of the ninja world demigod Hanzo of the Mountain Pepperfish, is strong, no less than the 5 great ninja villages. It is only because of the embarrassing geographical location and the collective suppression of the 3 countries that such a situation of survival has been created. And this time to be able to reach a strategic alliance before the Land of Earth and the Land of Wind, it is undoubtedly a great achievement for everyone in Konoha. In this way, the head of the envoy group, Senju Asakura, was also so excited at this time that he stayed up all night, waiting for tomorrow dawn to reach an agreement. Poof! Suddenly, the sound of objects falling to the ground sounded in the camp. Although fleeting, it was quickly captured by Senju Asakura in the dead of night today. Wrong. So quiet. Even the insect sound, which had not stopped after nightfall, disappeared. Enemy attack! Asakura roared, instantly waking up the entire camp. Suddenly, the explosions caused by various ninjutsu and detonation charms resounded. Senju Asakura quickly opened the tent, and saw that there were many figures in the entire camp, and a few Ku-Wu flew towards him. Jumping out of the tent, I am the messenger of Konoha, and you are doing this to make enemies of the entire Konoha. Konoha? It's the Konoha ninja who killed. There was a faint response from the other side. Water escape, the art of water dragon bullets. A huge water dragon roared and rushed over. Tuduan, earth flow wall. A huge earthen wall instantly rose up, blocking the attack of the water dragon. Captain! You run, go to the Konoha border to find reinforcements, I'll hold them back. A scarred Konoha ninja ran over from the other side of the earthen wall. At this time, the more than 20 Konoha ninjas in the entire camp were basically killed and wounded. No, I'll stay, Oda, you go back. I can hold them back. Don't rub it, I'm full of injuries, and I can't run far. Help me take care of my sister when I go back. Xiao Tian said, taking out the Ku-Wu hanging on his body full of explosive charms, obviously having the intention of death. Oda. Good. You are the hero of Konoha. Senju Asakura understands that time is urgent, and although he feels extremely uncomfortable, as a ninja, he must make a judgment. Turn around and get ready to leave the place quickly. A sharp kunai ran directly from its back through his chest. Asakura's entire hull immediately froze in place, and turned back in disbelief. Oda, you. Oda burst into tears at this time. I'm sorry, Captain. For the sake of my sister, I had no choice. By the time Hanzo arrived with a large number of range shinobi, he saw the destroyed Konoha camp. Almost all of Konoha's legions were killed here, except for the corpses of the captains, Senju Asakura and Nishimura Oda. Who did this? Investigate the matter thoroughly. Hanzo was furious, and as a person who was so cautious that he had to arrange a large number of cronies to guard him every time he slept. It was not that the Konoha ninja was killed, but that someone could make such a big move under his nose. Also, immediately strengthen the border garrison of Konoha, and it is estimated that this matter will not be washed by jumping into the Oblivion River. In the early hours of the next morning, Oda ran into the Konoha border again scarred, bleeding profusely, and dying. When Yuji Senju, the commander of the border of Konoha stationed in the Land of Rain, arrived, he only said one thing. The negotiations of the embassy broke down, and on the way back they were attacked, and the captain took the initiative to lure the enemy in order to cover our evacuation, and his whereabouts are unknown. Then, he died of anger. Senju Yuji slowly stood up, his slightly old face was like a dark cloud, his right hand was raised high, and then clenched into a fist. More than 1,000 Konoha ninjas behind him quickly crossed the border of the Land of Rain like locusts. I received the message just now, and all of them cheered me up and raised my vigilance. Soon a unit will come to change defenses. On the border of the Land of Rain, the captain of the Rain Shinobi Brigade shouted, yes. More than 300 subordinates are in unison. Report, Captain. Here they are, so fast. Suddenly, a Rain ninja pointed behind the captain and said. The captain looked back, and sure enough, a team of about 1,000 people quickly approached this side from the direction of Konoha. Then he turned around and slapped the subordinate in place. Silly. Is this our change of defense? This is Konoha's ninja. All on alert. Hello, I'm Konoha Border Commander, Chiji Yuji. After the Konoha ninja stood still, a Konoha ninja wearing a ninja vest stepped forward and shouted, I am Yuichi Ohara, the border captain of Yuin Village. May I ask you Konoha ninjas to cross the border privately? Ohara Yui's heart is heavy. The Konoha Senju clan is famous, and there are more than 3 times more ninjas on the other side than his own. Our Konoha mission has been attacked in the Land of Rain. The whereabouts of the captain are unknown. We need to find his whereabouts and find the murderer. Yuji Senju's voice was like the cold wind of winter, exuding a chill. Please be calm, if there is such a thing, our Rain country will definitely thoroughly investigate this matter and give you a satisfactory answer. Ohara wiped his cold sweat and whispered the official words. Then please get out of the way, we will thoroughly investigate the matter ourselves. It's impossible, this is the Land of Rain, don't mess around. We in Konoha never mess around and have been polite with your small projectile country for 2 years, and that's how you repay us? Yuji Senju's eyes flashed coldly. All of them. Kill. In an instant, a torrent of various ninjutsu poured down. The guns of war began first in the Land of Rain. Then, a group of mysterious people disguised as Konoha ninjas went on a killing spree in the Land of Rain. A little boy with red hair and a pair of hoop eyes became an orphan this year. Episode 58. Land of Earth. Most of the country of Earth is a desolate rock wall, and the cold wind blowing from the north will cross the high mountains and blow the fine rocks on the mountains to various places, forming the famous rock rain phenomenon. The ninja village in the Land of Earth is Awakens village, which is surrounded by natural dangers and defends the famous ninja world. At this time, the leader of Awakens village was the 3rd generation of Tokage Tude Scale Inoki. During his reign, he pursued a policy of military power and vigorously developed ninja education. As a result, Iwayne Village cultivated a large number of ninjas, creating the heyday of Iwayne Village. Of course, the resources consumed to cultivate so many ninjas are also extremely large, and the burden on Iwahide Village, which is already barren and not rich, gradually increases. In order to relieve the pressure, in the past few years, ninjas have been continuously sent out to pretend to be wandering ninjas and go out to plunder the surrounding small countries. Report. Konoha's envoy group stationed in the Land of Rain was attacked, and the whereabouts of the leader Senju Asakura are unknown, and it is suspected that he has been killed. His father Yuji Senju led the border garrison to launch a blitzkrieg and officially invade the Land of Rain. At present, Konoha's troops have penetrated 30 miles into the Land of Rain and set up camp to establish a frontline position. The top management of the wood industry acquiesced to the behavior of Yuji Sente, suspected of using him as a forward, and there are indications that there is a high possibility of entering the main force in the future. In the Earth Shadow Building, a dark person speaks in a colorful voice about the situation in the Land of Rain. When an area suddenly changes drastically, the dark subs of that area will be overloaded in order to obtain the most accurate information as quickly as possible. This is just the war machine of the Great Shinobi Village, running like a warm-up. Anoki's huge rosacea seems to have become redder from excitement. Finally waited for this time. Konoha, as the richest and most powerful ninja village in the ninja world, if it does not move, other ninja villages will always be a little afraid that the action will be too big, and when the time comes, they will bear Konoha's first shot. And now, pass the order down to the major captains and elders, assemble in the Earth Shadow Building, and convene a supreme military meeting. Yes. The next day, the huge Ninja Legion, divided into 3 ways, took the lead in mobilizing a group army of more than 10,000 people to deter the 3 kingdoms at the same time, shocking the ninja world. The first way, invading the Land of Birds. The Land of Birds is located between the Land of Earth and the Land of the Wind. The second way, the border of the Country of Rain, the establishment of a border front, and the formation of logistics. The third way, invading the Country of Grass. The Land of Grass is located between the Land of Earth and the Land of Fire. Kusanagi is better known as Kusanagi Village, which has established good diplomatic relations with Konoha. Although their strength is weak, they make good use of diplomacy to maneuver between the great powers, and can grasp the situation early to protect themselves. The Land of Birds and the Country of Grass are only small countries, and they do not face the strength of the Great Shinobi Village. So letters of help, missions for help, rushed to neighboring countries. The first time is to ask for help from the Country of Wind, the Country of Fire. Sand-hidden village. A village nestled in a sea of sand. As the strongest military force in the Land of Wind, it is greatly dependent on the assistance of the daimyo because it does not even have enough water for Zigung. Wind Shadow Building. The battle plan this time has been issued, please be sure to go all out. The third generation of Wind Shadow said with a gloomy face, we also fight on 3 fronts? What kind of joke, our Shain village can only hold up 2 lines at most. 3 lines, 3 logistics departments, and what about grain? Wars are not won by a single call like a madman. Hai Laozong slapped the table angrily and roared, this is an order from the daimyo, and he will support a batch of grain. The logistics of the bird country don't need us to worry about. As for the rest, where to hit, where to grab, the grain will be solved on the spot. This is the early stage of the war, and the only opportunity to quickly plunder resources while other countries are not responding. There are enough resources, and then consider the operation of the captured area. Do you want to be trapped in this damn desert for the rest of your life? For the future of Sand-Hidden Village, get rid of everyone. Known as the strongest Wind Shadow, the 3 generations of Wind Shadow are even more pure in terms of power and strategy. Well. Alright. Umi Laozong and his sister Chiyo's mother-in-law looked at each other and finally agreed. After the high-level executives left, the 3 generations of Wind Shadow slammed a heavy hammer and smashed the entire meeting to pieces with a large round table. Damn the daimyo. Unexpectedly, for the sake of face, he said, Yenin Village can fight on 3 fronts, and we should not be left behind. He didn't think about the problems of Shain Village itself at all. The face of the 3 generations of Wind Shadows was gloomy. Originally, according to his thinking, the whole army was directly in one direction, which would completely control the initiative of the war situation and seek the greatest interests. The hateful daimyo has no place in his eyes for us ninjas born into death. One day, the next day, Shain Village followed the example of Yenin Village and also divided into 3 routes to open a 3-line battlefield. The first way, respond to the call for help from the Land of Birds and go north to support the Land of Birds. To this end, the Land of Birds had to supply all the logistical needs of the Wind Nation's expedition to the army, while paying for a portion of the resources in advance. The second way, to Inju and Rain Country border, waiting for the change in the war situation in Rain Country. The main goal of this road is the water source of the Rain Country. Even if you can't occupy the whole territory, you have to win a water source. The third way, invade the country of Kawa. Kawanakuni serves as a buffer zone between the Land of Wind and the Land of Fire. The territory is not small and surrounded by vast nature. Therefore, communication is difficult and easy to hide. It is most suitable for establishing a secret base here. In the original book, Iai Luo was drawn out of a cave in Kawanakaku, and Akasa no Scorpion, Haruno Sakura, and Chiyo's mother-in-law then fought here, so it will also be the country of the wind, the first target of the plunder sweep. While the Konoha side strongly condemned the brutal slaughter of the Konoha envoys in the Land of Rain, the army marched out, with Mito Menyen as the commander-in-chief to press the Land of Rain. At the same time, Koharu and Tsunade led a force north to support Kusanagi. On the Kawanakuni side, a large number of ninja squads penetrated, drawing up the latest topographic maps of Kawanakuni and collecting humanistic data in the form of missions. At this time, the Orochimaru squad, which was on a mission in the Land of Grass, suddenly received the latest mission from Hokage. Detect the movement of the army of Yenin village. Provide accurate location information for incoming Konoha reinforcements. A protracted Second Ninja World War has finally broken out in full force. Episode 59, The Land of Grass. On each of the 3 avenues leading to Green Cloud City, there were caravans of different sizes, moving forward without hurry. And behind these 3 caravans, there are ninjas from Konoha secretly tracking. Among them, the largest caravan in the middle of the road, tracking the ninja, is Kiki Shuwa Shigeru. The second largest caravan on the right avenue, tracking the ninja as Makoto Uchiha. The smallest caravan on the left avenue, tracking the ninjas as Makoto Uchiha and Inachibana Anna. That's right, this is an A-class mission for the White Fang Squad. Konoha's intelligence agents operating in the Land of Grass were repeatedly assassinated by a very well-known IWA shinobi force. Later, Kiki Shuamao took over the task of eradicating this assassination team. After half a month of tracking, the target was temporarily locked on these 3 caravans leading to Green Cloud City. But only 70% sure. So in order not to startle the snake and get more clues, I had to continue to track secretly. Now, it's been a year and a half. Makoto Uchiha and Anna Tachibana finally shed their immaturity in the blood and officially became experienced ninjas. The 2 of them are relatively weak, and they only need to hang the small caravan far away. The task of truly probing the details of the caravan was left to Kiki Shuamao and Makoto Uchiha. At this time, 12-year-old Makoto Uchiha followed closely behind his target, without hurry. The eyebrows have gradually matured, and with a height of more than 1 meter and 6 meters higher than most of his peers, unfamiliar people will think that this is a handsome boy of 15 or 16 years old. The caravan tracked was about 30 or so people. Along the way, like other caravanserais, they seemed to be ordinary people, and even the hired guards were just some samurai who had not practiced chakra. Either it's really just a group of ordinary people, or they have a special secret method that hides their ninja breath. Ding! You're a little troubled by an unpredictable enemy. Please select A. Rather kill the wrong and don't let it go. Cut through the mess quickly and directly destroy this caravan. If you make a mistake in this move, the enemies hidden in the other 2 paths will continue to hide. Bonus, open without side effects, the 3rd door of the 8 doors of Dunjia. B. The gentleman hides the weapon and moves when the time comes. The biggest advantage of ninjas is that they can endure and continue to track silently, and even the most cunning enemies will show their feet. Reward, no effect to open the 3rd and 4th doors of the 8 doors of Dunjia. C. If you can't kill and can't bear it, then wave up. Use the riot operation to determine if there is a problem with this caravan before it enters Green Cloud City. Reward, no side effects to open, 8 doors, Dunjia 3rd, 4th, 5th door. Originally, Makoto Uchiha still wanted to track it silently and get the reward safely. But after seeing the 3rd option, they involuntarily racked their brains to think of what kind of commotion could determine their problems. No way, each of the 8 doors of Dunjia is a world apart, not to mention that there are no side effects, and you must strive for the best reward. In this way, after 15 minutes, the frowning brows slowly evacuated. Boss, I'll be in Green Cloud City soon, and I can treat everyone to a drink at that time. In the midst of the caravan guard, a young samurai walked up to the big man and said, Haha, no problem, this trip the employer is generous, the pay is good, when the time comes. I treat and everyone drinks openly. The boss in the samurai's mouth, a big man with a scar, laughed heartily. At this moment, a shirtless man suddenly ran quickly in front of the caravan, followed by a handsome young man wielding a kitchen knife. Don't run. Secretly drank my 8-altar-old wine, what do you take to pay it back? The 2 whizzed past the caravan. What's going on? This is from Green Cloud City? Are the people there so plagiaristic? Just feel that the shirtless man is a little familiar? Idiot, isn't that person very similar to Lao Tian of our team? No, it can be said that in addition to dressing, he is simply like Lao Tian. All on alert. Scarman had just alerted the caravan to be vigilant, and suddenly, 2 more people ran up behind the caravan. This time running ahead was a young man wearing only a pair of pants, and a young man with a kitchen knife was still chasing behind him. Don't run. When will the 1 million taels of silver owed to me be repaid? The 2 of them roared away from the caravan at a staggering speed, and after a while, they could only see a back. Nanny? Yaga. Next to the scar man, the young man who had just spoken was excited, and he wanted to pull out his sword and chase him, because he found that the young man in his trousers was exactly like him. Don't be impulsive, they are obviously ninjas who can use transformation techniques, be careful. Scar man shouted around while holding the young man. Sure enough, a moment later, 2 more people ran to the left of the convoy, then 2 more people ran on the right. As a result, the caravan would run past the 2 from time to time. The only constant is the teenager with a kitchen knife. The people who were chased were changing all the time, and the appearance of everyone in a caravan was almost rounded. Moreover, the people who felt the entire caravan were disheveled, and even owed the young man a lot of things. Nah, just ran over again and owed 2 steamed buns. Boss, I can't bear it anymore. Please approve me to cut him. I can't stand it either. As long as I can cut him, I don't want the reward this time. The crowd of the caravan was excited. Cut? You have to catch up. Give me patience, and I will be in Green Cloud City immediately. That is, the boss is still patient, and more is better than less. Everybody dissipated. Just have fun. In the escort, the only woman teased that since she did not appear in the chased figure, it seemed that this ninja was still very good at cherishing women. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of the convoy. This time it was a beautiful woman in a bikini, that white and dangling, running up thief with a feeling. Sure enough, the kitchen knife boy chased after him. Don't run. You also have to wait for 1,000 men before you can leave. Poof, poof, poof. The nosebleeds in the caravan sprayed wildly, and the voices that couldn't help but laugh sounded one after another. This bikini beauty looks like the only woman in the escort. I didn't expect this guy to be so material. I'm going to kill. Soil. Hold on. The girl's voice was just about to exit, but was interrupted loudly by the boss Scarman. Hold on, hold on. The men in the team gloated and repeated Scar's words, while everyone was joking with each other. The 2 men chased after them from the rear of the convoy. This time, the person who was chased was a big man figure, with a whole body and a toothpick-sized geechi moving with the wind. The most important thing is that the big man has a deep scar on his face. The kitchen knife boy behind him shouted angrily again. Don't run, rape the cell on the street. Are you still human? The scar-grayed Han walked with Wangba's steps and quickly paced away from the caravan. The entire caravan was silent, and they all aimed at the Scar Man. Rumble. The naked eye visible waves of chi surged from the caravan Scarman, and the huge chakra made the clothes on Scarman's body hunt like no wind and waves. Kill. Whoever dares to stop me, who dies. Scarman's years of disguised assassination, the chi cultivation kung fu practiced at this moment, completely broken. Episode 60. None of the other team members stopped the boss Scarman, because they have long wanted to that kitchen knife boy. Kill. At this time, I saw that the Scarman finally tore his disguise and shot with all his might. One by one, the team members no longer had patience and chased the kitchen knife boy away. Tuduan, rock pillar gun. Tuduan, Tuliing Danzi. A row of sharp rocks suddenly appeared on the ground where the kitchen knife boy passed, and suddenly stabbed up. As a result, he evaded it with an instantaneous technique. An uncle with bulging muscles suddenly pulled a staggering amount of mud and stones from the ground and smashed it at the kitchen knife boy. Rumble. A flash of knife light flashed, and the mud and stones were directly blasted into pieces. Rubble hit the pursuing people like bullets. Tuduan, the art of petrification. X2. The 2 team members quickly petrified their bodies to help everyone behind them resist the splash of rubble. Then, the kitchen knife boy jumped into the dense forest without stopping. Scarman led the crowd in hot pursuit. The other ordinary people of the caravan were stunned to look at the escort samurai regiment who suddenly burst into flames. This group of samurai consisted of 12 people, who were hired to protect the caravan. As a result, I didn't expect it to be all ninjas who hid their identities. They were all lured away by a funny teenager halfway. Go quickly, rush to Green Cloud City at full speed. The head of the caravan shouted loudly, and now the ninjas, disguised as the samurai regiment, all ran away. If you don't hurry into the city, if there will be any danger, it will be finished. Ding. Congratulations to the host for opening 8 doors of Dunjia without side effects, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th doors. This kitchen knife boy is obviously Makoto Uchiha, and the other person used to act as a shadow avatar who uses transformation techniques. Sure enough, no matter how good the cultivation is, if they are spoofed by such an unlimited limit, they will also jump out. The transformation technique of the Hokage world is actually a bug existence. In the late middle and late stages of the original work, Naruto's reverse harem technique was even overturned by Kagaya. Of course, this technique cannot be used indiscriminately, and some people do not eat this set. After stepping into the forest, Makoto Uchiha dragged them towards the place where the trap was set. At the same time, they are ready to use signal flares to inform Kiki Shuamao that the enemy has appeared. Ding. You have succeeded in getting the enemy to abandon the disguise and pull a wave of hatred. Please select A. Use signal flares to contact Konoha White Fang, mainly steady, but will disturb enemies and make them more vigilant. Reward, Ninja Psychic Beast. Cultivated crows can be easily paired with various ninjutsu illusions. B. Fight and retreat, and lead the enemy to Konoha's White Fang. Reward, 1 soul returning pill, can live and die human flesh and bones. If the person is deceased, the time of death must be within 3 days to take effect. C. Annihilate the enemy army with your own strength. Rewards, Ninja Psychic Beast, plus illusion, bubble. Return 3 soul pills, wealth is in danger. Makoto Uchiha put the signal flares back and at the same time drew his famous knife to break the snow. Little ghost, isn't your purpose to lure us out? Now you do it. How? Your companions, call them out. Seeing that Makoto Uchiha suddenly stopped, Scar Man quickly surrounded him with his men, while carefully looking around out of the corner of his eye. He didn't believe that this little devil had such a big mind to lure them out. There was only one person. At least there was another guy who used the transfiguration technique just now. Don't look, it's just me. Killing you rats who can only hide and hide, one person is enough. Uchiha replied lightly, and at the same time opened the Senga Jade riding wheel eye. Uchiha? It's really a hitchhiker to pick up treasures. No wonder you have so much courage. Should you say that you are confident or arrogant? June, it turned out to be Uchiha, then you are welcome, go together. Scarman sneered. Everyone no longer hesitated and was ready to join forces to destroy the enemy. After all, the daimyo of Uchiha was famous in the ninja world. And if it is safe to kill, then the Sharingan. Forgot to tell you, there are traps here. Makoto Uchiha chuckled and pointed his fingers at their feet promptly. Sure enough, the light of the Dao detonation charm came into their eyes. Flash, rumble. The 4 people running in front were surrounded by detonation charms and could only use all their strength to jump into the air. Oh. Forgot to remind, there are also in the air. Sure enough, the shadow doppelganger who didn't know when he came back had already thrown out the kuwu in the sky, and each kuwu pulled a detonation charm behind it. From the heavens to everyone, it was like a large net made of bitterness and detonation charms. Dragnet. Boom. The sound of huge explosions continued like large firecrackers. After the smoke, 6 mutilated corpses were half buried in the dirt. The Scar Man was dumbfounded and incredulous. One Face, IWA Shinobu's assassination squad was killed and wounded half. Don't you need money for the ninja starter charm? And what's with that delicate throwing technique? This little ghost turned out to be so strong. It should have been thought long ago that this imp had everything ready from the beginning, even if he was just a person. The Scar Man's face became extremely ugly, and he thought that he had found a treasure. Now, it is possible that a mine has been picked up. Tuduan, rock pillar gun. Tuduan, Tuliing Danzi. Wind escape, wind with 1,000 faces. The teammates around them were also shocked one by one, but years of cooperation made them react immediately and unleash ninjutsu one after another. Wind blades carrying huge mud and stones, as well as rock spears piercing the ground, attacked Uchiha Makoto. The figure that was instantly shattered rose into a cloud of smoke, and a broken piece of wood fell to the ground. Avatar technique. One of the outermost team members was suddenly pierced through the chest by a long snowy knife. It then turned into dirt and scattered on the ground. Earth stand-in, little ghost. You're still tender. IWA Shinobu, who looked like an uncle in the team, appeared behind Makoto Uchiha, who had just appeared. Earth enchantment, no dirt prison. A large area of earth rose up around Uchiha Makoto and quickly gathered together, forming a sealed semicircular wall of earth, covering its entire inside. Then I felt my chakra pass by quickly.